The next section of the Olivet Discourse refers to signs often taken to refer to the acts of a future Antichrist figure. Are these able to be found in the history of the first century? Standard end times theorists tell us that Matthew 24:15 refers to a yet future temple and to the actions of one called Antichrist with a capital A. But here the Gospel of Luke offers a very interesting divergence. Luke, as a Gentile writer, had a propensity to explain peculiar Jewish twists to his Gentile readership. Since the Greek word for desolation is the same in all three Gospels, it seems that he thinks that the abomination of desolation has to do with Jerusalem being surrounded by armies. It's interesting to note that the Jewish historian Josephus saw the referenced Daniel prophecy as fulfilled with the destruction of the temple in 70, and regarded the shedding of priestly blood in the sanctuary as the desecration or abomination that caused the 70 AD desolation. As a result of this horror, Josephus called the temple no longer a place fit for God, and said that God was the author of its destruction. Further, Luke's indication is that the coming of the armies signifies that the abomination is soon to take place, and that desolation will occur soon thereafter. Do we have a pre-70 AD event that fits the bill? We do indeed. It happened when the Jewish zealots occupied the temple and committed various acts of sacrilege, including using sacred materials for war and crowning a so-called high priest in a farcical ceremony. They committed bloodshed in the temple sanctuary, thereby profaning it by killing the innocent. This passage is transitional and offers us some clues of a 70 AD intention. The coming down from the housetop is in line with the ancient Near Eastern practice of living and working on a flat roof. Other aspects of the description here are more flexible and may refer to any given time, though as N.T. Wright notes, the advice here is more useful to a refugee from military invasion than to a man caught unawares by the last trumpet. Typical end times theorists identify this as tribulation with a capital T, associated with a 7-year period headed by an Antichrist figure. According to one leading proponent of this idea, this cannot have been fulfilled in 70 AD because there have been greater tribulations. Well, certainly no one would minimize those later tribulations, but a couple of clues work against such a literalist interpretation. Note first of all Luke's version of this verse. This shows that Luke anticipated fulfillment in terms of Jerusalem only, the final diaspora and the trotting down of Jerusalem by the Gentiles. This leads to a second clue. The warnings in Matthew and Mark harken back to the Old Testament. These are all warnings about the destruction of Jerusalem at the hands of pagan armies. The language in these cases is proverbial and hyperbolic. It's not intended to be providing some sort of rank or scale of horrific events experienced by the Jews. In our next segment, we'll pick up with yet another major puzzle, the language of the heavens in the Olivet Discourse. How does all of that figure into the first century? I'll drop one hint here. When reading stars, suns, and moons, think less of these, and more in line with these. No, definitely not these, though. See you next time.